righty, and we'll start seated on our mats, crisscross applesauce. We'll just pull those shoulders back and down and begin to breathe into the belly, lifting the heart. Inhaling and exhaling through our nose. And as we inhale, we'll lengthen in the spine, creating all kind of space in between our vertebrae, make ourselves nice and tall. Exhale, we're just gonna walk our hands around to the right, tiny twist. We're not forcing ourselves to do anything quite yet, just reminding our spine that it can go this direction. And then we'll come back to the center, and then exhale over to the left. And back to the center. And then we'll just do that one more time each side. So slowly inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we twist. And inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we twist. Good, and back to the center, lifting those hands up nice and high. And now exhale, let's just round and fold forward into a little ball. Roll our way up. Hands can come up high again, and then again. Exhale. We'll just fold forward. And roll our way up. Inhaling up. Let's do that one more time. Let's fold forward. Just a big round in the spine. Sink down into our hips. And then we'll walk our fingers forward. We'll come onto our hands and our knees. Fingers nice and wide, pressing into the mat with all of our fingers, pressing away so those shoulders are nice and strong. Tuck our tail, we breathe into our belly. Good. Now we're just gonna rock back, hit those feet, our feet are tucked. We'll hit those heels and our arches, and then come forward, and maybe come forward a little bit more, get those wrists, and then back, get our feetses, and forward, get those wrists, and then back to a tabletop in the center. And now exhale, rounding into our cat, lifting the spine nice and high, tucking the tail, tucking our chin, and then inhaling, pressing into those hands, lifting the heart, lifting the tail, exhaling to our cat, and inhaling, cow. With our breath, just moving at our own pace, letting that spine warm up, and feel the connection of our breath and our movement. And let's do one more cat and one more cow. And then we'll find ourselves back in a neutral spine. And now we're going to do like a little happy puppy waggle with our bums. So we're going to bring our hips over to one side. Our shoulders are going to come back. Like we want to try and pinch our hips and our shoulders together. Good. And then over to the other side. And just side to side. Moving with purpose. And let's do one more to each side. So we're nice and even. And back to that neutral spine when we're ready. Good. And now let's lift up our right hand up to the sky. And then exhale, threading the needle, bringing that hand all the way through, lowering our shoulder to our mat. Our left hand can come out in front of us for a couple of breaths. It can stay on the mat for support, or we can even place that left hand on top of the right. Help lengthen that right arm out and then open the shoulders. Ever so gently. And then slowly we'll unwind. We'll find our tabletop again. And then let's lift up the left hand nice and high. And then when we're ready, exhaling. Threading the needle on the other side, placing that left shoulder on the ground. And same thing on this side. Our right hand can come out in front of us and stay on the mat. I like to place it on top of that bottom hand to help open up the shoulders. And then think about your hips. Are they swaying off to the side? Let's bring them back over the top of the knees. Bring that twist into our spine instead of moving our hips around. And then slowly we'll unwind. And from here, let's do another cat. And a cow. Kind of use my cats and my cows as a reset after I do something on my spine. Now let's just walk our hands forward and we'll come into a child's pose. Hips can go back, shoulders down. And from here, let's walk our hands over to one side, reaching across our body. I went to the right, so my left hand is reaching across. My bum is still sitting over the top of my heels, opening up in my side body. And then all the way around to the other side. Slow and steady. And then back to the center. Good. Let's inhale up to our baby plank. Lengthening in our backs. tucking our tails, opening up in the front of our hips. Good, and then exhale, let's just lower ourselves all the way down to our tummies. Hands are underneath of our shoulders. When we inhale, we're going to scoop our chests forward and then slowly up into our baby cobra. Good, and then exhale, we'll lower back down. And we'll press back to our child's pose. Do that a couple more times. So we'll inhale up to our little plank. And then as we exhale, we'll lower ourselves down. Reminding our bodies we're nice and strong. Inhale, we'll scoop and lift our chest. And then we'll press back to our child's pose. Good. One more time. Inhale, coming on up. Exhale, we lower down. Inhale, one more scoop to our cobra. And then pressing back to our child's pose. Very nice. Good. And now from here, we're going to tuck our toes underneath of our butts. Really flex those feet. And now using our hands, we're going to back ourselves up. Our knees will come up off of the floor. And we'll find our way into a low malasana squat. Good. And then we're going to lift our butts just a little bit so that our hands can find the floor again. And you're just going to walk our way forward again. Tucked toes still down to our child's pose. Good. Now walking ourselves backwards, keeping our knees on the floor. We'll work our way back for a baby camel. So hands are behind our feet. We'll lift our hips just a little bit, get those quads. And then lower the hips, coming on forward, back to our child's pose. Good. And then walking our hands backwards this time, knees come up, we'll come back to that really low squat. And from here, now we would love for our heels to find the floor, but sometimes they don't. It's okay. What we don't want is to just round in that chest. So let's lift our hearts. We can use the floor if we need. We can use a block. We can use our arms on our knees if we need. Good. And then the hands will find the floor. And we're just going to lift our butt up toward the sky. Now, if we can't get our legs nice and long without lifting our hands up, that's okay. We're just going to go as far as our body is allowing us to go. And then we're going to come back down. And then inhale, lift up. And exhale, we lower down. I'm going to do this several times with our breath. Just kind of warm up those hamstrings. Maybe we get a little bit straighter after we do a few of these. Maybe we don't. Good. And now Let's inhale, lift that bum up high. And we'll stay here in the forward fold. We can pedal our knees if we like. And then slowly we're going to round the back, bend the knees, and slowly lift our way up to standing. Just to Tadasana, hands by our sides, shoulders back, chest high. Good. Now let's lift those hands up to the sky. Exhale, little tiny back bend here. We can go to cactus arms if we like. Inhale, coming on up. And then exhale, bending the knees, hinging at the hips. We'll lower ourselves back down. Bend the knees enough so that our hands find our mats. If it's here, it's here. Good. And now let's walk our hands forward about 2 or 3 steps into a downward facing dog. Take the time to wiggle our way into it. This is a different way that we've gone into a downward dog. Pulling the shoulders back, pressing into our fingers, lengthening all the way to our tails. Good. And then inhale, let's come forward into our version of plank. Plank can be on our knees again. It can be on our toes. Good and strong. Excellent. And then press back, downward facing dog. Good. Again, inhale, let's come forward to a plank. This time, let's lower down to chaturanga. Inhale, we can do cobra, or we can do upward facing dog. We'll tuck those toes. We'll lift our hips, press ourselves back for downward facing dog. Good. Now let's bend those knees. Walk our hands backwards to our feet, into our forward fold. Good. And now let's lower our butts all the way down to that low squat. Move around in our wrists, wiggle our fingers, move our head around. Good. Hands come down to the floor, lift the butt up nice and high, forward fold. See where we're at. Good. Bending the knees, inhaling, lifting high. Good. Let's sit down into our chair. Knees and thighs come together. Butt comes low. Back is long. Chest is proud. You should be able to feel the activity in that low ab area as it presses into our thighs. Good. Inhale, lifting high. And then bending the knees, hinging at the hips, folding forward. Good. Walking our hands out for downward facing dog. Let's raise up that right leg. Three-legged dog. So we're pressing the heel back behind us, turning the toes down toward the sky or toward the floor. Our hip will turn down to meet its partner. Good. And then kicking ourselves in the butt, bending the knee, bringing it into our chest, slowly bringing it forward into our lunge. Good, and then hands stay on the floor, stepping back, downward facing dog. Other side, left foot comes back, three-legged dog. Pressing the heel, and also beginning to lengthen that back leg. We tend to want to bend really, really deeply. See if we can still pull those hips back for down dog. Good, and then kicking ourselves in the butt, bending the knee, knee to the chest, foot up to the top of our mat for our lunge. Sinking those hips, pressing our right heel back behind us, lifting our hearts. Good, and gently we'll step back, downward facing dog. Inhale, forward to our plank. Exhale, let's lower down. Inhale to our choice of back bend. Tuck those toes, lift the hips, press into our hands, downward facing dog. Good, let's walk those hands backwards. Finding our fold. Bend the knees at first. Attach that low tummy to our thighs and then begin to lengthen the legs. Good, and now let's lower that bum all the way down to our squat. Hopefully, as we are moving through these several times, we're feeling some improvement in our mobility, in our flexibility as we warm up. Good, hands find the floor, lifting up our butts to our forward fold. Good, bending the knees, rolling as we rise up to the sky with our fingers. Good, exhale, let's sit down into our chair. Nice and strong here. Good, inhale, nice and tall. Let's sit down into that chair one more time. And now from here, let's do a little twist. So we're gonna take one hand, stretch it back behind us. Looking toward those back fingers, but still reaching the front ones. Sinking the butt low, lifting the heart, tucking the tail, active butt bellies. Good, back up to the top. And then the other side, reaching back. Nice and high to the center. Inhale all the way up. And now let's exhale, hinging at the hips, forward folding. Good, walking ourselves out to our downward facing dog. Good, lifting the right leg. And now, bending the knee, coming forward into our plank, touching the knee to the right elbow. Good, pressing back. Again, out to the right elbow. And pressing back. Now let's switch it up and we'll bring that knee into our chest and we'll go over to the left elbow. Woo. Good, and back. Three-legged dog. Bringing that knee into the chest, stepping forward into our lunge. Left hand will stay on the floor. Right hand comes up to the sky for a twist. Good, back to our lunge. And now from here, we're gonna bend that right knee, or the left knee, ever so gently. Sure, it's flailing all over the place. we're not going all the way down to our low lunge, but just ever so slightly so that we can arch our back just a little bit more like a cow. Good, and now beginning to lengthen in both legs, rounding in the spine. It won't go all the way to pyramid, and that's fine. We're just rounding like a little cat and cow lunge. So as we inhale, we'll come forward, arch that back just a little bit. As we exhale, we round and lengthen in those legs just a little bit. Good, one more time. Inhale and we arch. Exhale, we round. Good, now let's come back to the lunge. Strong back leg. Good, and now from here, let's open up warrior two. Wiggle your way into it. As we do the first time we get into a pose. Good, reverse warrior, lifting that right hand up to the sky, sinking down into the lunge. Good, now big cartwheel down to our lunge. We'll step back, downward facing dog, pedal it out. Good, lifting the left leg up nice and high. Good. Bending the knee, coming into that left elbow, hovering in our plank just a little bit. And then pressing back, three-legged dog. And again, to that left elbow. And back. And switching it up, let's come on over to the right elbow. Good, and back. And now this time, bringing that knee into the chest, stepping forward into our lunge. Proud chest, strong hips, breathing deeply. Good, right hand will stay on the floor, left hand comes up to the sky. Good, and back down. And now to our little cat and cow lunges. So we'll just gently bend that right knee so that we can lift the heart just a little bit higher. Good, and then straighten and round the spine, really tuck the chin. Good, and then inhale back to our cow lunge. Exhale the cat lunge. One more time, each inhaling cow, arching the spine, exhaling to our cat as we round. Good, back to our regular lunge. Good, finding our balance here. Let's drop the heel behind us, lift the arms, and find our way into warrior two. Very good. Sinking down into the lunge, lifting from the inside of our thighs, pelvic floor. Nice strong shoulders and chest. Arms come out in opposite directions. Good. Keep everything down below the same. Let's lift up the left hand and drop the right for reverse warrior. Good, big cartwheel with our hands. Ew. Let's step back, downward facing dog. Pedal it out. Let's inhale forward to our version of plank. Exhaling, we come down. Inhale to a back bend. Cobra, upward facing dog, sphinx. Let's tuck those toes, lift the hips for a downward facing dog. Good. Nice strong down dog here. Lengthen in that spine. Get those shoulders moving back. lifting the hips. And now let's take everything off of our right hand so that we can reach back for the left leg. The ankle, the shin, the hip, something on the left leg. Good. And back to our down dog. Good. Other side. Lifting that left hand up off of the mat, reaching back for the right leg. Good. And back to our down dog. Excellent job. Let's walk our way backwards. Bending the knees if necessary. Attach our tummy to our thighs and find our forward fold. In fact, let's even just ragdoll here and lift our hands up off of the floor, hold on to opposite elbows and just hang and sway side to side if we like. Take a bit, move our head around, make sure that we're not holding a lot of tension in those shoulders and neck. Good, let's release the elbows, hands find the floor. Now let's walk our way around to the outside of the right foot. Good, slowly coming back to the center and then around to the outside of the left foot. Good, back to the center. Hands find the floor. Let's bend those knees. Begin to lift the heart. We'll come down to our low squat. Again, if we need, wiggle our fingers, roll around in the wrists. You can find hands to heart, lifting the chest, lowering the bum. Very nice. Take a couple of breaths here. It feels good. Feel our belly pressing into our thighs as we inhale and exhale. Good. And now hands find the floor. We're going to walk forward. Let those knees find the mat. Soften the feet. And we'll find our child's pose. Good. And now we're going to lift our hips up over the top of our knees. Walk our hands out nice and long for melting heart. So our hips are over our knees. And then we just melt our heart down into our mats. Our forehead can rest. Or if we've got the flexibility, we can lift our chin and put it on the mat. Good. Inhaling here. Staying for the exhale. And then slowly we'll begin to walk those hands backwards. We'll find our way into tabletop. Good. Tucking those feet underneath. Good. And then let's lift ourselves up to a downward facing dog. Gently, let's step that right foot forward into a lunge, and we'll just lower the left knee down, soften the foot for a low lunge. Good, and now let's bring our hands up to our thigh. A little bit high lunge here, high half lunge. Opening up our back behind us so that we can open up our hip in front of us. Good, and now hands come up to the sky. Good, let's bring that right hand back behind us, left hand forward, do a little twist here, sink down into the lunge, but not bringing our chests forward, keeping our shoulders over the top of our hips, breathing into that belly, opening up those shoulders, very good. And now let's keep that twist, we're gonna drop the right hand and lift the left. Woo. Good, both hands find the sky, sink down. And now let's lower the hands back down to our mat. Good. Let's tuck the toe behind us, lift up into a full lunge. And now we're going to pivot that heel back behind us, and we'll come up into warrior one. So our left hip is still facing forward, right knee is bent. Good. Hands can find our hips. We'll lengthen that right knee. Find our hips nice and even and parallel to the front of our mats. And then we'll exhale, hinge at the hips. Hands can find the thigh, the shin, our block, our sofa. Small children, if they're nice and still, well-behaved dog. Good, now let's bend that right knee. Hands find the floor. We'll step forward this time with our left leg and find our forward fold. Wiggle a little bit. Inhale, bend the knees. Lift nice and high. Bringing those thighs and knees together. Let's sit down into our chair. Bringing our hands to our hearts, pressing into those palms. Good, now we're going to shift all of our weight onto our left foot. And we'll begin to lift the right heel, then the toes. If this is where we're at, this is where we're at. If we can, we'll cross that foot across the left knee. Begin to sit down into the chair. Lift the heart, tuck the tail. Flex this right foot. If we're feeling it, we can fold forward. See if we can hook that foot to the outside of our arm. And then slowly and ever so gracefully, we unwind and find Tadasana. Good. Let's inhale nice and high. We'll fold forward. Good. Now we'll step back with the right leg. Find our lunge. We'll soften the knee behind us. Soften the foot. Begin to lift our hearts, sink those hips. Couple of big breaths here. And then when we're ready, we'll help ourselves up to a high half lunge, bringing our hands to the thigh. Opening up, keeping that low back nice and open and strong. Good, and then hands can find the sky. And now let's reach back with the left hand, opening up to the left for a twist. Sinking down into that lunge, lifting the heart, reaching with those fingers. And now let's drop that left hand, lift the right. And slowly we bring that left hand back up to meet the right toward the sky. And then exhale, we'll bring the hands back down to our mat. We'll tuck the toe behind us, find that full lunge. And now we'll set ourselves up for warrior one. So we'll lower the heel back behind us. Keep that left knee bent, and we'll rise up. Pulling the right hip forward, left hip back, tuck the tail, lift the heart. Good, hands can come to our hearts or to our hips. We'll straighten that left knee, feel that right hip coming forward, and then exhale, we'll hinge at the hips. And we'll slowly lower ourselves down into our version of pyramid. Please don't rest on our knees. They don't like it. Chests are working forward. Tails working back. Taking several breaths to get where we're at on this side today. Good, and now let's bend that left knee, hands find the floor. We'll step forward with the right. Wiggle it out, find fold. And then bend the knees deeply, round in the spine, and we'll slowly roll our way up. And then sitting down into our chair. Almost done, guys. You're doing great. Good. Hands come to our hearts. Everything stays on our right foot as we slowly lift up the heel of the left foot. Then the toes. We can cross over that right knee. But still think about the activity in our torso, the length in our spine, the pride in our chest, the peace in our shoulders. One more breath. Very good. And then slowly we'll lift up, unwind. Hands can find our sides. We can close our eyes for a couple of breaths here in Tadasana. Fingers are wide. And feel the connection of our breath and our body and the earth. Good. And now we are at the top of our mat. Let's bring our hands to our hearts. We'll walk our feet a little bit wider than our hips, and we'll slowly lower back down to our Malasana squat. Good. And now, here's the super graceful, technical part of our practice. We're just going to rock backwards onto our backs. You can rock forward and backward. Good. You can roll side to side. Wiggle our toes, move our legs around in our hips. And then when we're ready, we'll find ourselves into our eggs. Good, let's open those knees nice and wide. Elbows come to the inside of those legs. Hands find the outside of our feet. And we'll work our way into dead bug. Imprinting our entire spine into our mat. Tail comes down. Our hands help our knees work toward our mats. Our shoulders are melting. We tuck our chin ever so slightly to lengthen in the back of our neck. We're not going double chin action here, just a little bit. Good, let's release those feet, bring the knees in together. We'll relax, let our hands come out to the sides. We'll lengthen and fill our bellies full of air on that inhale. As we exhale, let's take those knees over to the right for a supine twist. And inhale, let's bring those knees to the center. And exhale, move them over to the other side. And slowly we'll unwind, we'll roll up into our egg, holding on to our shins or our feet, curling up. Let's inhale, lifting our hands and our feet up to the sky. Moving around for a little Krakalasana. Point and flex, we can stretch, we can Make little fists. And then exhaling, slowly, slowly, slowly. Lower our hands and arms down to our mat above our head, our feet and our legs, down to our mat below our hips. When we find ourselves all the way down, we give ourselves one more big stretch. And then a big exhale out from our mouths. Let everything relax. Hands come to our sides so they can come to our heart and our belly. Our legs just kind of flop however. We close our eyes. We soften our jaw and our face. And we begin to relax throughout our entire body. We quiet our mind. And we just breathe in and out. As we breathe, we feel our bodies release and surrender to the support of the earth below us. And as we are in our own spaces, if you would like to take some more time in Shavasana, I encourage you to do that. Please give your body what it needs. If we are ready, let's deepen our breath and gently move our fingers and our toes at first. Slowly come back into our bodies and into our space. Move our head. Listen to our body and give it what it needs right now. A little wiggle or a twist. And then when we're ready, we'll roll over onto our side. We'll help ourselves up to a comfortable seated position. We'll check in with how we're feeling right now after our practice. Let's do our best to hold on to the connection that we built with ourselves, our mind, our body, our emotional selves. So that we can be a little bit more in tune with our needs. And let's inhale together, lifting our hands up to the sky. Bringing them together at the top, and let's exhale them down to our hearts with gratitude, giving ourselves thanks for the gifts that we just gave ourselves. I thank you so much for joining me this morning, for allowing me to help you through your practice. I appreciate all that you are, all the energy that you share. I wish you a very, very happy day, great rest of your week. The light and the divine in me recognizes and respects the light and the divine in each of you. And when we are together, whether virtually or physically, we are one. Namaste. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. I love you all.